Hey guys, and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to talk about 7.3 portion. Let's start with the first questions. Um, let's talk about these first. In this question, convert these fractions to percentages. So this is a fraction. We're going to turn it into a percentage. Now, you need to know that every percentage is out of 100. So first thing you have to do is turn the fraction into a fraction out of 100. So let's talk about the first one here. Now, first, the 10, we need to make it 100. So we do this by multiplying by 10. Very good. So we multiply by 10 here to make this 100. Same idea for the numerator. We're going to multiply by 10. Multiply by 10. So 3 times 10 will be 30. Now I have a fraction out of 100, which is 30 out of 100. This means to turn it into a percentage, I just write 30 over here, and the percentage is 30%. Okay. Same idea here, 4 out of 50. To turn this into a percentage, I have to make the denominator out of 100. Same step, turn the 50 into 100. And to turn 50 into 100, I just multiply it by 2. And whatever I do to the denominator, I do it to the numerator. So I'm going to multiply by 2 here. So 4 times 2 is going to be 8. Now I have 8 out of 100. To turn it into a percentage, I just write 8 over here. And this is how you convert a fraction to a percentage. Now let's take a look at question 2. Write these fractions in the simplest form. Now to write fractions in the simplest form, same idea as we did with ratios, simplifying by dividing by the highest common factor. So when you look at this, here we have 20 out of 50. So the highest common factor between them is going to be 10. So divide this by 10 and divide this by 10. 20 divide 10 will be 2. And 50 divide 10 will be 5. So the simplest fraction will be 2 over 5. Same idea with all of them. Find the highest common factor between them and divide the numerator and denominator by the highest common factor. Now, let's move on to the next question. First, here we're going to talk about proportions or direct proportion. Now, let's take a look at the question here. A packet of sweets has 12 chocolates and 8 mints. Write the ratio of chocolates to mints. So first, let's write it as a ratio. So chocolate to mint. Here we have 12 chocolates, so it's going to be 12, and then ratio. And mints will be 8, so 12 to 8. First question is done. Now, what proportion of the sweets are mints? What proportion of the sweets are mints? Now, to write the proportion, I'm going to write it as a fraction, in which I'm going to take the part number divided by the total number. So here, the total number will be what? It will be 12 plus 8. So I'm going to add these. It's going to be 20. Now, to write it as a proportion, sweets are, I'm sorry, mints are 8, and the total is 20. So to write it as a proportion, it's going to be 8 over 20. So the part number over the total number. This is the proportion of mints out of sweets. Write your answer as a fraction and as a percentage. Now, I want to turn this into a percentage. So I'll take it here, 8 over 20. To turn a fraction into a percentage, as we said before, the percentage is out of 100. So it means I have to turn the denominator into 100. And how do we turn 20 into 100? Good, by multiplying by 5. And because I multiplied the denominator by 5 to make it 100, I have to do the same step to the numerator, multiply it by 5. So 8 times 5 is going to be 40. Very good. So 40 out of 100. Now the fraction is 40 out of 100. Now to write it as a percentage, I just write 40 next to the sign of percent. So this is how you write the proportion as a fraction and as a percentage. And this is how you answer a question like this. Now, all of them have the same ideas. You can write proportions as fractions and simplify them, or turn them into percentages. Now let's take a look at another question. Let's take this, for example. Question 5. For charity art exhibition, James gave 12 paintings, Rob gave 8, and Fernando gave 5. Write the numbers of paintings as ratio. So first, let's write the letters. So we have J, R, and F. So Jamie, Rob, and Fernando. Jamie gave 12, so this one will be 12. Okay, let's make it smaller. So Jamie gave 12, Rob gave 8, and Fernando gave 5. So here we have all the ratios written. Let's write the ratio points here and here. Now, this is the ratio. What proportion of the paintings did each give? Now, to write the proportion, you have to write it as a fraction, part number over total number. So first thing we do, we have to find the total number of paintings by adding all of them together. So let's add these together. So 12, let's write it here. 12 plus 8 plus 5. So the answer, 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 5 is 25. Now the total number of paintings is 25. Let me cover this. Now we want to write it as a proportion. Let's cover this. We can write the proportion here. Each proportion should be a part number over the total number. So this one will be 12 over 25. This one will be 8 over 25. And the last one will be 5 over 25. Now, this is the proportion of each paintings or each one's paintings given out of the total paintings. Now, to simplify, you have to look at the numbers. If they have a common highest common factor, you can use it to simplify. Here we can divide, here we can divide, here we can simplify by dividing by 5 because it's the highest common factor. So divide by 5 is going to give me 1 and divide by 5, it's going to give me 5. And this is how you write the proportion of the paintings. I hope you understood the idea. Now let's move on to the next lesson. Same idea with the questions. Now 7.4. 7.4, proportional reasoning. Let's take a look at some questions. For proportional reasoning, we're going to study direct proportion and inverse proportion. Let's take a look at the direct proportion first. Now, the meaning of direct proportion is that two values that they increase together or decrease at the same ratio. So let's take a look, for example, at one of the questions here. Question 2. 2 liters of lemonade costs £2.50. Work out the cost of 4 liters, 6, 1, and 7 liters. So basically, if you add or if you sell more liters, you'll get more money. Or if you buy more liters, you'll spend more money. It means these are in direct proportion. Same idea with question 3. Downloading 30 songs from a music website costs £45. It means if you download more songs, you have to pay more money. This is the meaning of direct proportion. Now, how do you work out direct proportion? First thing you do, you have to put them in 4 boxes like these. Them here. Sometimes we call this the X method, or we can use the direct proportion method. First, let's work with this one. 2 liters of lemonade. So here I'm going to write L for lemonade. And this one is the money. Let's call it P for pounds. Or let's put M for money. Okay. So 2 liters of lemonade costs 250. So 2.50. The question is 4 liters of lemonade. So I'll put 4 here because I want to know how much money will it cost. So basically, with direct proportion, you check what happens and what change did make the 2 become a 4. So how did the 2 here become 4? Very good, by multiplying by 2. So we multiplied by 2. And because we multiplied by 2, it means we have to do the same here. We multiply by 2 here. So same idea for both sides. This is what we call direct proportion. Now, with inverse proportion, it's the opposite. If it's multiplying here, it's going to be dividing on the other side. So 2 times 2 is going to be 4. Same idea with the other side because it's direct proportion. 2.50 times 2 is going to be 5. So the answer is 5 pounds. Now, the same idea can be used with all of these questions. So you can do the same idea here. And the same idea with question 3. You can put 30 songs here and 45 pounds, and then 15 under the 30. And then how did the 30 become 15? By divided by 2. So we're going to divide by 2. 45 divided 2 will give me the cost of 15 songs. And that's the whole idea of direct proportion. So let's take a look at the second question. Let's do it here. So 30 songs will cost 45 pounds. Let's write them here. Let's put S for songs and M for money. Now, how much does it cost to download 15 songs? 15 songs. Okay. So when you look at this, you'll notice that how did the 30 become 15? Very good, by dividing by 2. So here we divided by 2. This means that we're going to do the same here. We're going to divide by 2, find the cost of 15 songs. So here, 45 divided by 2. 40 divided 2 is 20, and then the 5 is 2.5. So 22.5 pounds, and this is how you work out the missing numbers in direct proportion. Now let's move on to the next question. Here we're going to talk about inverse proportion. With inverse proportion, it's the opposite. It means what? It means we look what happens to the first side. How did the 2 become 4? By multiplying by 2. Good. Now, because we multiplied by 2 here, it means we're going to do the opposite here. We're going to divide by 2. This is the way or the method of answering inverse proportion. Now, the question is, how do you know it's inverse proportion or not? Basically, if the question is talking about time, for example, here it takes 2 people 20 minutes to wash a car. How long does it take for 4 people or 1 person? This question is talking about time. It means the more the people, it means the less the time that you need to do something. That's why we say this is inverse proportion. So basically, if the question is talking about time, most likely it's inverse proportion. Let's take a look at one of the questions and understand that more. Question 6 here. Let's cover the space. Now, in question 6, 6 people can paint a fence in 3 hours. As you can see here, this question is talking about time. It means it is inverse proportion. It means the more the people, the less the time will take to paint the fence. Let's move this. So let's put them here. So 6 people, let's write people here. People and time. Okay. So 6 people will take 3 hours. 6 people will take 3 hours to paint the fence. Now the question is, how long would it take 3 people to paint it? So here, under the 6, I have to write 3. Now, I find out what happened, or how did the 6 become 3? Here. So the 6 becomes 3 by dividing by 2, like this. And because I divided by 2 here, it means what should I do here on the other side? Because I know it's inverse proportion, I have to do the opposite of this one. And the opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. It means here, I'm going to find out the time by doing the opposite of dividing by 2, which is multiplying by 2. So 3 times 2 will equal, very good, 6 hours. So the answer is 3 people will take 6 hours to paint the fence. Same idea with question B and C. You can use the same method to find the answer for the question. Now let's move on to the next question. Same idea here. If it's inverse proportion, you use the opposite method. If it's direct proportion, you use the same methods to find the answer of the question. And this is how you answer a question like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.